In the past month, I've deepened my contentment with myself, and it's totally transformed how my days look hour to hour and how I go about making decisions throughout the day. And so today I'm going to talk about how to find that balance between deep okayness with being on our own in our own time and continuing to build a life of nourishing connection. In my life, I have for a long time been relentlessly seeking connection in a way that's been unbalanced, and I've really come to see that more clearly lately. And the benefit of that has been that I've spent a huge amount of time honing my understanding of and my experience of what connection means. But it's also been, really unbalanced, and it's been at the expense of me feeling secure attachment to myself. What I've realized is I have constantly been in one of maybe 4 modes, maybe every single waking moment for many years, and those modes are either being with other people, looking for other people to be with, or being online trying to find other people, or being online sort of giving myself a sense of connection even though it's only digital and it's not the real thing. Or the 5th thing is, I've been practicing to become better at connecting with people so that I am able to connect more when I meet people that I want to connect with. And all these things are great. I think they're all great when they're done in the right level of moderation. And I think for a period of time it's great to immerse oneself in those. And I have been immersed in those continually for a long time. And what I'm realizing now is it's begun to feel out of balance, and it's been causing me to have trouble prioritizing really important needs in my life. It's caused so many things to be more difficult than they're suddenly feeling, because a shift has suddenly emerged in the last couple of months for me where I'm feeling a deep sense of contentment and secure attachment to myself. And that's been really cool, so I want to talk about that. There's a community I lived in over the summer with hundreds of people for 3 months, and it was an amazing deep dive into connection and a real upgrading of my relational skills, and it was really fun and met loads of awesome people. And there was just this point near the end where I suddenly had this really intense jealousy reaction where I'd spent some time with a woman, and then I went away and I came back into the room and they were with somebody else having an intimate connection, and it really hit me hard. And I was like, whoa, it was so strong. I was like, what is going on here? Why is this the reaction I'm having? And how is this still how unstable my emotions can feel in the face of needing and expecting a certain kind of thing from other people. And it felt unbalanced, and it felt born of anxiety. And I spent the next few days just pulling away, and I decided to spend about 4 days primarily on my own. Put my headphones in, I walked around with my head down looking at the ground, which I've never really done anything like that before. And it was a really powerful introspective experience where I got to really dig into what's going on with me. And I saw that I've been neglecting myself. I'm very valuable and worthy of my own company, as we all are. There was this shift in, I'm still needing to find nourishment in connection with others constantly, and actually there's an opportunity to find that within myself. And I had been under the impression I'm really self-loving. I don't feel deep harsh criticism towards myself, and these things were true. I think I had some kind of healthy relationship with myself, but there was still an imbalance, and I had been searching to be fulfilled from outside of myself still, and I hadn't realized it. And so when I pulled into this time alone, it was really illuminating for me. I saw something new, and it was really one of the most powerful few days of my life. And I came away from there, and I found it easier to bring myself to people with less expectation after that. And it's brought a new level of ease with connection. And then just a few weeks ago, I found myself sick in bed. And for a day or two, I was really frustrated. I was like, I'd been expecting in this new place where I've just relocated, I'm going to get out there and meet loads of people. And I was like, hang on a minute, I thought I had cultivated a way of being myself that feels okay. And so that was like this consolidation of nailing in this lesson I learned a couple of months ago. And since then, I'm making choices, and I'm seeing how this security with myself and openness to me being like the deepest source of nourishment for myself is just allowing everything to feel more easeful. And I just want to share about how that balance can be really transformative. And for me, I've noticed a few things dramatically shifting in a way they haven't before. My attitude to my relationship to work. I'm feeling really easeful in choosing to work, I've been finding it hard to build a reading habit, and suddenly I'm reading more again. And it's like, oh, these things nourish me. And it's like, how am I having a relationship with myself? My relationship to work feels nourishing. It's like, I want to do this because it's helping me grow. It's feeling creative and fun. Reading, it's just like, oh, I'm giving myself nourishment into my brain and into my emotions. And my exercise routine has started on a new level again, and everything is just feeling easier. It's like I can decide to look after myself. Amazing. How has that been such a struggle before? Well, it just feels easy right now. And at the same time, the connection options are there, and it's easier to choose whether or not I'm just like, oh, I'm looking after myself right now, or I want to go and meet people. And it's not felt like this for a long time. I think the only time it's really felt like this for me historically is when I've had both a girlfriend and a really tight-knit close friendship group at the same time. And when I don't have those two things historically, I felt this, like, not fully noticed, but there's been a sense of something missing that I must fill immediately. I can't go on without these forms of connection in my life. And that's been something beneath the surface that hasn't before been so clearly identified moment to moment. And suddenly it's like, oh, actually I've got the foundation in place. That's just my relationship to myself. These other things will come when they need to come, and I'm just looking after me. And so now connection feels easy. It doesn't feel a pressure in me to go out and get connection. It's still very much a skill set that I'm glad I have spent a long time cultivating and working on, because within that comes so much personal awareness of myself and how I'm communicating. There comes security and that I am enough. There comes confidence in connection. There comes the skills to attune and calibrate with others. And so I'm really happy I've spent years working on that stuff. But right now it's like, oh, everything's easy. And I'm sure it won't always feel easy. And that's what growth is about, right? We take 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But right now I've sunk into this higher tier. It's like, oh, I'm on the next level suddenly. Something has deepened in my security with myself, and it feels really cool. And then there are these elements that when I mention these 5 things that I'm like historically always within, one of them is just using the internet, and I've transformed my relationship to that lately. I've stopped using dating apps, and I've stopped using Instagram, and I'm only really using Facebook to try and find a place to live. And so my relationship to social media has suddenly freed up a huge amount of time. If you use 2 hours of social media a day, that's 30 days worth of 24 hours a year. So like more than a month of waking days. And I'm just like, there's a better way for us to be spending our lives than on these facsimiles of connection. There's real connection to ourselves, to existence, to nature, and to each other to be had, and freeing up that time away from something that's a little bit desperate in social media and a little bit desperate in dating apps. And I see it in the people I match with on dating apps. There's a lot of loneliness, and it's not the right way, in my opinion, to go about finding a partner. It's like digital pixelated versions of people who we don't even know. Swipe based on what? Where's the assessment of chemistry? Where's the lifestyle alignment? So I'm doing the things I want in the world, and I'm finding people that way, and I've wanted to do that for a long time, and I sometimes get sucked back into the dating apps, but now I'm not using them, and time has freed up, and mental space has freed up, and I can use that time if I want, if I'm interested in dating, to just find people in the real world. And so that's a really cool shift that's happened to me, is my relationship to technology has fundamentally shifted as a result of my relationship to myself becoming more loving and secure. That feels really cool. I think there's this risk that we can skew either way. I think a lot of people skew deeply into like spending all their time alone and not spending time with others because they're afraid of social connection. I think I skewed the other way. I was like, social connection, I must become a master of social connection at the expense of spending time alone. And it's a balancing act. And actually the balancing act becomes very easeful, at least for now, for me, when our attachment to ourself is loving and secure. So it's like, well, how do we go about finding that security? And I'm reading this book at the moment, which is just like very much on this topic, Radical Acceptance by Tara Brach. And of the bits I've read so far, part of the core framing is like there's this two-step process. One is mindfulness, noticing what is going on, what is my relationship to myself, what are the things I'm feeling, what are these needs I feel I have. And the other is compassion, having compassion for ourselves in whatever we're feeling and thinking. And when we can really have those two things, really notice clearly, and then feel like it's okay, whatever I'm saying I need to become, that's just a part of me. I am deeply valuable as I am. When we can actually embody that fully, wow, a shift that for me has untangled all, maybe I hesitate to say all the knots in my life, but so many of the things that I've been struggling with for so long, productivity, my relationship to technology and phone addiction, and just like trying to find time to have my hobbies and work out and do my rehab, all those things, rehab on my physical, I ain't got a drug addiction, motherfuckers. Yeah, my relationship to my ankle injury, and like all of these things suddenly feel really, I'm just doing it without even trying because I'm prioritizing myself, and that actually frees up room for balance. Feels like a super important core component of the thing we're talking about on this channel, which is how do we connect with others. At the foundation of that is how we connect with ourselves, and I have just reached a new level of that, and it's going to be interesting to see how that continues. Will this be something I hold on to, or is it something that I'm going to struggle with again at some point? I imagine it's something I'll struggle with again at some point. I just don't think it's that easy to lock in personal transformation. Like, transformation takes time, and there's these steps forward and steps back. So I feel like I've gone deeper than I ever have before into an awareness of this and holding on to this. So that, I think, ultimately is like a really good sign. And I hope that you guys are like aware of this phenomenon, and that you're having a compassionate, loving relationship with yourself. And if you're not, I'd be curious to hear about what you're struggling with there. If you found this transformation in yourself, as I know a lot of my friends have in recent years, love to hear about that in the comments. Yeah, feel free to hit the like, hit the subscribe if this is resonating. We're relaunching the channel. I'm trying to get a vlog out a day. I think that might be tricky because we're trying to do a lot of things at once. But here's the second vlog of the new era. I'm Simo Simpson. This is The Road to Connection.
Great.